we have to put behind all that we discussed in terms of negative and positive yesterday. Let's just look at the global backdrop. The global backdrop yesterday was extremely equity positive. Asian markets and European markets, some of them ended even 2% higher. We ended higher. So in this global backdrop, we actually underperformed a bit. So we cannot say that people have not taken note of the election results. Clearly, FIIs have. The number clearly indicates that if we did not have a very positive global backdrop, probably we would have seen Indian stocks also end in the red. So we have to remember that overhang of state polls will be there for a bit, and you could see it in FII favorite stocks like the HDFC twins. The other point to note is the appointment of the new governor. It's, according to me, a good solution because it's, it patches, it brings peace. It's been initially negatively received in global markets because in the NDF market, the rupee fell a bit. But I think that's minor. If there is good buying in equities, then rupee will move on. If crude falls, rupee will move on. So it's just a minor worry for foreign investors as to whether he would lean too much in favor of the government. But, that's just a few decimal point in terms of a reaction. Now we will have to see how global cues start. I think today we start really on a fresh page because we have already discounted the events of yesterday. The specific stocks like Kotak, yes, all these could react positively in anticipation that the new set of rules from RBI will be less stringent. That would be one positive. But if I look at the global markets today, yesterday's risk-on seems to have ebbed a bit. Whether you look at Wall Street or whether you look at Asia, it's a little quiet. So we may not get a repeat of yesterday.
Okay, Lata, morning, Anuj, morning. Well, you wake up in the morning and you don't know what news you're going to be hit with, right? I mean, every 24 hours
I hope today
changing.
is not as hectic as yesterday and day before. Yeah. Suddenly the resignation of a governor, suddenly the appointment of a governor, upset state poll results.
So many new chief ministers.
Enough of 2 days activity for a week.
Oh, absolutely. For a week, for a month, actually. We haven't got this kind of data in a month, right? But I want to take that first point you made, India's underperformance versus global markets. And the biggest takeaway for me was the selling from foreign investors yesterday. They used that up move to sort of sell in the market. Not just a 2,400 crore cash market figure. The gross selling of 6,200 crores was the highest that we saw since end of November. And, not just HDFC Bank that you pointed out, 500 crores of delivery selling there. ICICI Bank saw 700 crores of delivery selling there. So keep an eye out on all of that. Also, Anuj, morning. This morning, though, the SGX Nifty has recovered its losses. Hong Kong is in the green. You were making this point yesterday as to how you should take each day as it comes. Yesterday, one would have made money by going long on the market. Today, you think that trade may not work?
Morning, Sonia. Look, yesterday we stuck our neck out and it was perhaps an easy call. Today is not an easy call. And today, I don't want to stick my neck out on anything because today could be one of those days where you just want to stay on the sidelines. There's in market there are days like yesterday when you decide, okay, today is the day you go all in and you make money. And when you do that, after that you don't need to trade for some time. Every day is not necessary that you trade and make money. You can just sit on the sidelines. Today is one of those days where you just want to sit on the sideline. I'll just make 2 or 3 points about what yesterday meant for us. For starters, yesterday's low of 10,333 is now sacrosanct support if you are a positional long. That's, the point we made about hard bottom with the bad news. If that is broken, then the market is going towards 10,000. But 10,333 is important. On closing basis, if today is a good day, then this market may well have made a double bottom at 10,480. 482 was the level that we were working with. And, it just bounced from there. So 10,480 on a closing basis is important. The bank nifty could be very volatile today. A day ahead of weekly options expiry, normally you see big moves in bank nifty. The problem for the bank nifty today would be the PSU banks would obviously surge because of the new governor, and we know his stance on
yes, in Kotak, you think?
Yeah, perhaps they would. The problem is, like you saw with ICICI Bank, the kind of delivery selling yesterday. HDFC Bank, though it recovered towards the end, it was clearly visible. If FIs are going to sell big, where are they going to sell? They're going to sell in the HDFC Twins and ICICI Bank. So the issue here is that a Yes Bank, perhaps, or an Axis Bank, perhaps, even if they rally, how much can they support the market? A 2% move in HDFC Bank is enough to puncture all the move in the PSU banking pack or in the other banks. So that's why the risk reward perhaps does not favor any kind of trade in the Nifty Bank. for those focusing on PSU banks, especially the ones in PCA, it's not going to be just straight away, chase the gap up. If there's a gap up, you chase and you made money. That may happen. But, my sense is a lot of positions would have been created yesterday itself. A lot of PSU banks rallied yesterday towards the end, especially Corporation Bank. I was just seeing the intraday chart of Corporation Bank that ended about 11% higher.
Exactly.
So it perhaps may not be the smartest trade to just go out and chase first thing in the morning, even the PSU bank.
Yeah.
It's too simplistic, and it's not that the PSU bank recap that we had. Right now it's a hope trade more than anything else. It may work like the Yes Bank trade worked, like as we discussed in the morning, that perhaps that is one trade that could work. It may work, but if you're chasing it, then you're taking a bit of a risk right now. So as I said, to cut a long story short, you just want to wait. The risk reward today is not in favor of taking any aggressive trades, because the market is right in the middle of that range we've had. And just one final point, where the Nifty was at the start of the year, 10,531.
Oh.
Where are we now? 10,549 on the Nifty. 18 points in the entire year. And in between, we've gone to 10,000, we've gone to 11,000, and we've come back to 10,500.
Okay, since we're talking about journeys, let's talk about that journey from North Block to Mint Street, right? Shaktikanta Das. I mean, I would read it as a positive. At least the uncertainty is now out of the way, and there is a credible man at the helm.
No, for me, more than the uncertainty. The uncertainty was only for 24 hours.
Yeah.
Governor resigned on Monday evening and Tuesday. Uncertainty was not long. It is the belligerence between the two parties, and you can't go on like that. And I think Mr. Das will bring a very big healing touch. He has, been DA secretary and Finance Commission member, G20 Sherpa. When you're the G20 Sherpa, you coordinate with similar Sherpas in all the G20 countries. So, these are days of huge global volatility and trade battles. He can he has a circuit to pick up the phone and speak to some counterparts there. Likewise, when you are from the services, the SC Gargs and the Rajiv Kumars have at some point in time reported to Shaktikanta. So while if Governor Patel took something to the finance ministry, they would be confrontational because our attitude, he's younger and he's an outsider. Here you're dealing with someone 2 years senior to your service. Yeah. So there is an inbuilt, willingness. There's an old boys club. There is a camaraderie. There is a trust. Yeah. So I think that will be a very big healing touch, because the rift is simply too wide. So while you may say, oh, he doesn't come with an economics doctoral degree, which others came, all that is fine. That can be learned. And how much will the economics degree anyway help you? You have to do forex management, rural development, money market management, cyber security, technical issues like SWIFT. Where does the economics doctoral degree help? A governor has so many tasks. So to say that you don't have a doctoral degree, I would think that if you have negotiating skills, good leadership skills, you really half the battle is won. For me, the big point will be that he will be seen as a government man. So you'll have to bend backwards to prove to both your own team, which is RBI, you want to spend 24 hours and the 365 days of the next 3 years with that team. I mean, you just have to prove to them that you are their leader and their voice will be carried. And therefore, that will be the first challenge. So first, will he allow them to take the money? That's the big thing, the 2.5 lakh crore. So it's not an easy test to pass, because it's a big government and it's facing an election. So, the challenges are big. And the smaller challenges for the market itself will be, will he give a line of credit to NBFCs? Will he remove banks from PCA? Will he allow go soft on Kotak and Yes? All of them are very difficult challenges. He will negotiate one at a time. And, but Dr. Subbarau's autobiography, if you have read, he says something happens to you when you take the flight from Delhi to Mumbai. When you sit in the RBI governor's seat and, you see your signature in every currency note, it sends a sense of responsibility in you. You can't let down that institution and that trust which, after all, every person is using the currency on your signature. That definitely rubs on the incumbent. So it's not going to be a walkover for the government that everything they say, Shaktikanta Das is going to apply his approval. I think he will. There is experience that, before him, Dr. Subbarau have all held up for what is right. And it's not as if that always RBI is right or always government is right. So that, I mean, I'm looking forward to the appointment with faith.
For
you can pull out so many problems.
Oh, absolutely.
But, you know, under the circumstances,
exactly. And I think I mean, we have to look at it positively. And, you know, at the end of the day, I know degree is overrated. I must say that. You know, for example, in the movie Guru, and Abhishek Bachchan in the end makes a point. मैं पढ़ा लिखा नहीं हूँ, but धंधा करना जानता हूँ. You know, it's at the end of the day.
Maybe
you know,
in this case, because it's an esoteric subject,
yes.
you know, central banking, it will help to have a degree. Now you are a little more dependent on the RBI staff than someone who already knows the subject. You know, like that Anujit Patel, who was already a master of the field. But the point is, I spoke to some RBI old-timers, and they actually were very happy. It's an IAS officer because they felt that the Patel and the Rajan type, or maybe this is just this man's view, I don't know, after all I spoke to one person, he said we were not used enough because they came with their own views. Now at least we will feel useful. So actually RBI has taken to it very positively. Let's, this is just 10 hours old. His best challenges will come in the days to come. At the moment, I don't think the stock markets will have everything positive to look forward to. The NDF market is mildly negative, but I think that's in passing.
Okay, so as they say, a good leader is someone who takes his team forward with him, right? So if the team is happy, I guess things would move well. But let's see, we have a long day ahead, and it promises to be a very volatile day of trade. Let's take a look at what some wise experts have to say as we head into trade this morning. Rhythm Desai of Morgan Stanley says the 5 state election results announced are the first indicators of how things may pan out in May 2019 when India goes into her 17th national polls. With the caveat that it is still early days to predict 2019, Rhythm says these state elections are important if history is a guide. He says the trends from these elections usually carry into the general elections. So he adds the early signs are that the incumbent BJP-led NDA government is suffering some losses. However, he says these signals can be fragile in the world of politics and things could change quickly and abruptly in the coming weeks. Rhythm says investors should watch for pre-poll alliances and the growth-inflation mix in the coming months as a guide to the likely election outcome. He thinks 2 states, Maharashtra and Uttar Pradesh, are likely to be crucial to the results in 2019.
There's more opinion. Mahesh Nandurkar of CLSA says the Congress wins yesterday increased the probability of a united opposition and a potential SP-BSP combine in the state of Uttar Pradesh, and that could be a challenge for the BJP. He says a key worry for markets would be if the domestic equity investors that started to invest in the markets along with the Modi win in May 2014 start to reduce new investments. He says CLSA's analysis of the state election manifestos highlights competitive populism by the BJP and the Congress with farm loan waivers, unemployment grants, farmer handouts, which is good for consumption but bad for a capex cycle recovery. Mahesh says consumption plays, particularly rural ones, should benefit from such handouts. The related top ideas are M&M, Colgate, Crompton Consumer, ITC, TTK Prestige, Z, Eicher Motors and Maruti.
Okay, so yesterday was a very volatile day for the rupee. Let's take up the last stake, 71.85. So it fell by almost 53 paise, 52 paise yesterday. Some money market views for today. Pramit Brahmabat of Veracity says the rupee will continue to trade under pressure on the back of political uncertainty as well as negative cues from the domestic market. He expects the dollar-INR pair to trade in a range of 72.20 to 72.50. So more weakness for the day.
Weakness for the day. Actually today the global risk on is a little mild. So we will have to take that also into account. The dollar strengthened a bit. Dhaval Dalal of Edelweiss says after the recent bout of unexpected volatility in financial markets, he expects bond prices to consolidate at current levels and focus on the upcoming FOMC meeting. Says market participants are likely to find comfort in the swift appointment of the Reserve Bank governor and expect continuity in the current monetary policy framework. He expects the 10-year benchmark bond yield to trade in a range of 7.45 to 7.55 in the near term. Actually, no impact for the bond market because policy is not set by the RBI governor, it's set by the MPC.
Yes, fair enough. By the way, you know, what's interesting is last month we had this MSCI India outperforming the other 2 MSCI indices. This month already the market's given you an indication that perhaps a mean reversion is in order. So MSCI India is now down 2.5% this week, while MSCI Asia ex Japan is down only 0.5% and emerging market index is down only 1%. So obviously there's been some adjustment after that last month's outperformance that we have had. Here's Manglam with the world view.
No, I think it's Sonal.
Sonal it is.
Well, it's Sonal here with the Worldview, and I would start with the US markets. So they were largely weak. Well, Dow, that fell around 51 odd points after a very volatile session in trade. S&P was quite flat with a negative bias. However, Nasdaq, that saw gains of around 11 odd points. What really led to the gains in Dow around 360 odd points, because President Trump, he tweeted that there are very productive conversations going on with China, and one should watch out for more important announcements. However, all these gains all converted into losses after he also threatened to shut down government if more money was not routed to the Mexican border wall that had to be built. But overall, the automobile sector, that did really well. The shares of Ford Motors, General Motors, they did well in trade because there were reports that China was planning on cutting tariffs on all the cars that were made in the United States. Moving on to the European markets, there the action looked really positive. All the major indices closed in the green. The DAX, that outperformed with gains of around 1.5%. The basic resource sector, that was up 3.5%. That was basically because of the renewed talks between China and the US. However, sterling, that was down to the 20-month lows level because Theresa May, she postponed the parliamentary vote for the Brexit deal. Moving on to the Asian markets, the screen is looking very good out there. And SGX Nifty, that is also indicating a positive start to trade today. Back to you.
Okay, thanks a lot for that, Sonal, to give us that view. SGX Nifty for now a tad bit in the red. Actually, it's really volatile the last half an hour for the SGX Nifty. But let's get some global views going. Jeff Lewis, the Global Strategist Capital Markets Group at Manulife Asset Management, joins us on the phone line from Hong Kong. Jeff, hi, good morning. I'm going to ask you your global view. But before that, so much has happened in the Indian markets. We've had the state election outcome where, the BJP has been on the back foot. Also, we've had a new RBI governor appointed just over the last 24 hours. From a foreign investor perspective, how would you read through all of these news points?
Well, I think the foreign investors looking at what's happening in India, they'll definitely see this as a wake-up call to the business-friendly BJP.
Jeff,
okay, I think we have some issues with your audio, Jeff, so we're going to try and reconnect. The final tally actually has come on board, I think, for Madhya Pradesh.
Final tally
the
was
Congress
expected.
has come out as the largest party, 114 seats. I guess that was unexpected.
Yeah, but this is also setting off a problem because the majority number is 216.
It's done because BSP
Unless
and
BSP,
SP, BSP and SP both, have a total 3
seats. If they have pledged support, then
so
there is no
117. Problem. It's done. It's done deal. It's 3-0. I think the 3-0 is priced in by the market. By 3:30, 3-0 was priced in because around by 3:30, in fact, the Congress number was 120. So that way, it's well priced in.
Okay.